The 2025 season has arrived. This year, the WEC returns to Qatar for the season opener, which is sure to be an exciting race once again. And with the grid as competitive as ever, there is definitely a lot to look forward to. So this is a race preview for round 1, which includes everything that you need to know about the 2025 Qatar 1812 kilometer. For the second year in a row, Qatar will host the season opener to the World Endurance Championship, and there is a lot to talk about. This year's race marks the WEC debut for 2 cars, which includes that all-new Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR LMH and the Mercedes AMG GT3. And by the way, if you want to know more information about these 2 cars, I made a separate video which explains all the details. I'll link it in the top right corner and in the description. Alongside those entries are 15 other models of cars, and in total, this year's race will feature all 13 full-time car manufacturers. Like before, the Qatar 1812 kilometer will feature both classes of hypercar and LMGT3, with 18 cars in the hypercar class and 18 in the LMGT3 class, for a combined total of 36 cars on the grid. In fact, this year we're actually down 1 entry compared to last year's race, due to the reshuffle in entries we got in between seasons, as we got new entries, and we also lost both the SC63 and Huracan GT3 entries from Lamborghini, and the single Le Mans hypercar from Italian brand Isotta Fraschini. This year's hypercar grid includes 2 Toyotas, 2 Peugeots, 3 Porsches, 3 Ferraris, 2 Cadillacs, 2 BMWs, 2 Alpines, and finally 2 of those brand new Aston Martin Valkyries from the Heart of Racing team. Meanwhile, LMGT3 features 2 Porsches, 2 Aston Martins, 2 BMWs, 2 Ferraris, 2 Chevrolet Corvettes, 2 McLarens, 2 Ford Mustangs, 2 of those new Mercedes cars I mentioned earlier, and finally 2 Lexus entries. Last year in 2024, the Qatar 1812 kilometer was won by Porsche Penske Motorsport, as the number 6 car driven by Andre Lauderer, Kevin Estre, and Lawrence Vanthoor took the 963's first overall win in the World Endurance Championship. In fact, the entire podium in hypercar was made up of Porsches, but that was only because of the late race drama for the number 93 Peugeot, which had a great race up until that point. Elsewhere in LMGT3, victory was also obtained by Porsche, as the number 92 Manthey Pure Racing car took victory and eventually went on to secure the championship that year as well. So it's clear that Porsche dominated in 2024, but the question will be, can they hold on to the winner's trophies in 2025? The WEC event in Qatar is hosted at the Lusail International Circuit, which was opened on September 30th of 2004. The track is a purpose-built racecourse located in the second largest city in the country, Lusail. The track has 16 turns and has a length of 3.3 miles or 5.4 kilometers. Other than the World Endurance Championship, Lusail also hosts the Formula 1 Qatar Grand Prix, which held its first race in 2021, and besides F1, the MotoGP Championship also comes here for racing. Now, a key factor to know is that the Qatar 1812 kilometer lasts about 10 hours and has 335 laps, which makes it roughly the same length as IMSA's WeatherTech Championship season finale of Motul Petit Le Mans, held annually in October. Since it has a 10-hour duration, this means the event is the second longest endurance race in the WEC, just behind the iconic 24 Hours of Le Mans. And besides Le Mans, the 8 Hours of Bahrain is the only other event in the WEC that isn't a 6-hour endurance race. Also, it's important to note that the event's name of the Qatar 1812 kilometer comes from Qatar National Day, which is celebrated on an annual basis on December 18th. Moving on to the BOP, or Balance of Performance, which has been released ahead of the event for both classes. On the subject of power given for the hypercar class entries, it is the Peugeot 9X8 hypercar that has been given the most power, with 520 kilowatts or 697 horsepower, which interestingly is the max amount of power that can be given for the LMH and LMDH cars. On the opposite side though, it's the Ferrari 499P that has been given the least amount of power, with 501 kilowatts or 671 horsepower. Meanwhile, when it comes to the weight for the class, the Cadillac V Series R is the lightest entry out on track, with the Toyota GR010 once again being the heaviest car. Although, it's worth pointing out that the Japanese hypercar is much lighter compared to when Toyota last came to this event. Now, moving on to LMGT3, and for this year, the Aston Martin Vantage GT3 and the Ferrari 296 GT3 have the most power, while the Lexus RCF GT3 and the Ford Mustang have the least power. Meanwhile, that new M4 GT3 Evo has the least weight in the GT field. So, in 2025, the Qatar 1812 kilometer will happen on Friday, February 28th. With the official start time being 2:00 p.m. local time. Now, I'm sure all this information sounds great, but you may be wondering, how are you supposed to watch this event live in 2025? Well, the season opener will be available to watch by going to FIAWEC.tv, which is linked in the description down below. But there are other places to watch the action as well. For example, in the United States, the event will be streamed on the Max streaming service. So that concludes this race preview for the first race in 2025, as the Qatar 1812 kilometer is about to begin an epic season of the WEC. So now I'm interested to know if you'll be watching this race, and who do you think will be able to win? Well, make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like endurance racing, definitely subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because I'm releasing videos on a weekly basis regarding the WEC, IMSA, Intercontinental GT, and much more. To watch more content now, check out these suggested videos I've put on screen. For now though, that's all from me. Thanks for watching.